And today we have got a lineup of some extremely heavy hitters in the technical world of Magento and Adobe Commerce. And we're starting very, very strong with someone I can now call a good friend, Mike. He's the VP of Sale over at Jitterbit. He has been selling into this industry for longer than I've been alive, let me tell you. And he's been some incredible places along the way. He's telling me he was at LogMeIn, Cast Iron Systems, which were acquired by IBM. He was then at ADP Siebel, PeopleSoft, acquired by Oracle, Map Anything, acquired by Salesforce. Have I missed any? You've been around.
I can't hold a job.
I think the point here
I can't hold a job. That's what it is.
I think the point here is, if you're looking to get acquired, stay close to this guy. He's running hot and he's doing well. But he has a lot of experience in digital transformation. He's now at Jitterbit, which is an incredibly innovative iPaaS system. So I'm delighted to introduce Mike Muhlfelder to talk us through digital transformation today.
Thank you. So, by the way, it didn't go unnoticed that he just called me heavy and got away with it. So a couple things before we get started. For those of you, I know this is a technical track. For those of you expecting something very technical, you're going to be disappointed. I'm not a technical guy. I've been doing, as Steve mentioned, I've been in and around technology for a long time. And I have purposely avoided allowing myself to become too technical. But one other housekeeping item, I have a couple of colleagues here, Dave Malda and Eric Graff. They were in the back of the room, but I think because I started talking, no, there's Eric, all right. I started talking, they left. But we have some giveaways in the back of the room, some charging pads, so please help yourself on the way out. So as Steve mentioned, I'm responsible for the North America sales operation at Jitterbit. We've been with the company for about 5 years. We're an iPaaS, or integration platform integration platform as a service, and we're a world leader in that space. We provide the infrastructure that connects your front office and your back office, so that the people on the front lines can engage effectively in the system of choice, or the system that's required. I've been in this space, in the integration space, in or near it, since about 2007. And as Steve mentioned, I've been in B2B sales for over 30 years. So I'm older than most of the people that are on my team in terms of being. Okay, so you were just coming into the world, and I've recently learned to say that I'm seasoned, not old. So we'll go with that. I'm also a consumer. And for the next few minutes, we're going to be talking about the trends, the challenges, and the opportunities that my company and that I see in the e-commerce world. So let me start with a little bit about who I am. So I'm a cyclist. Hard to tell from this outfit, but I wasn't going to wear the bike outfit. That would have been weird, even in New York City. I am a typical consumer, typical male consumer, in that I have money. I'm not afraid to use it, but I would categorize my shopping habits as being sporadic. I buy what I need when I need it, and generally the easiest, fastest path. I don't wander around stores. I don't do any of that. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. My expectations, though, are because I do look for easy and quick, that you will make it easy and quick, and you'll inform me and don't make me chase you around for information. So a little story about this. So, and this, I think, highlights the evolution of e-commerce and just buying. So about 7 years ago, I decided I wanted a new bike. So I left work early on a Tuesday, stopped at a bike store on my way home, walked in, person behind the counter said, "Can I help you?" I said, "Yeah." I told them what I was looking for, and they sent me upstairs. Never mind, there's an upstairs in a bike shop. We'll leave that alone. But I get upstairs, and there's a gentleman on the phone, and he waves me off. Walk around for about 10 minutes. I think I found a couple of bikes that I might like. Bear in mind, these are not $200 bikes, but I also don't buy $12,000 bikes, right? So I go back to the front. He's still on the phone, waves me off again. Walk around for a few more minutes. He's not interested in talking to me. So I go downstairs, and as I hit the handle on the door, the person behind the counter says, "Did you get help?" I said, "No, he did not want to talk to me." So I got in my truck, and I drove about 45 minutes north to a bike shop that I had bought bikes from before. They were very happy to see me, by the way, not that they remembered me. Showed me a few bikes. I ended up, even though I had done research, again, bear in mind 7 years ago, so there's only so much research you can do, but not the bike that I thought I was going to get. They stayed after hours, sized me, let me ride the bike, but the bike wasn't right. They couldn't sell it to me, so they were going to have to source a bike. So I leave. I get a call the next day. Oh, no, the bike is fine. It's fixed. It's ready for you. So back to the bike store and I get the bike. But no, as good as the experience was, there was no loyalty engendered from that. They didn't follow up. Did I like the bike? They didn't send me anything 5 years later. Maybe do I want to trade the bike in? No coupons for service or product or anything like that. So then what happens 4 years later when I decide I want another bike? Because those of us who ride bikes, you generally don't own one. You own many. I own many. But I wanted a fat bike. Actually, what Ritesh was just talking about, the fat tire bike. Very different. I did my research online. I bought it from a reseller. It was done. It was easy. There was no loyalty there either, by the way. Now, fast forward again. And like many cyclists, and if you're a cyclist, you'll appreciate this, I had an accident. One of many, by the way. I'm still up here, right? One piece. But I needed a new helmet. I went to Amazon, did a quick compare of a few helmets. Click, had it in my hands the next day. Speed, convenience, and price from my desk chair. Now, this can be food, it can be clothing, it can be houses, it can be software, office furniture, industrial lubricants. It can be anything, and it is virtually everything. And it's all of us. It's B2B and it's B2C consumers. So let's talk a bit about today's expectations. Show me, right? As I was saying, right? Give me the products that are relevant to me. Help me, make it easy. Support me, offer an omni-channel experience. I don't want to be sitting at my laptop, and I may not just always be wanting to use my phone or my tablet. Know me, right? Personalize the communications. Incentivize me to buy, be proactive, and notify me. Let me know where my shipment is. Don't make me have to chase you around or wonder. So what happened? The Amazon effect and the pandemic. Our buying expectations and service expectations shifted faster than many business leaders expected. Is anybody here familiar with the Amazon effect or have heard it before? Okay. So I got exposed to this about 8 years ago. And it's in its simplest form. As consumers, about 8 years ago, we got very accustomed to Amazon. It was a very different site from other e-commerce sites. You went to the search bar, you put in the item you wanted, it knew who you were, what you bought, it gave you myriad options. You clicked on the one that you wanted, click, ship, and if you got it and you didn't like it, click, ship, send it back. And without realizing it, when we didn't get that experience from another site, we either navigated back to Amazon to buy it anyway, or we bought it somewhere else. What happened with the pandemic is that shifted and it hit B2B. So now the B2B buying experience became the same, or the expectation. And now that all the worlds are colliding and driving more of this e-commerce trend. So 67%, 2/3 of shoppers of shopping is now different because of COVID-19. I, for example, no longer go to a grocery store, or rarely go to a grocery store. I buy my groceries online. It takes me 10 minutes, 8 minutes to the grocery store, 1 to 3 minutes to pick it up because they let me notify them in advance when I'm coming. 8 minutes home, put it away, I'm done. Why would I ever walk into a grocery store again? I have better things to do with my time. Now, some people love the grocery store. I am absolutely not one of those people. And shoppers are 20% more likely to buy from retailers that offer the omni-channel experience. Now, the data says that the changes are permanent, but we're still at an early stage. And we don't need to look any further than our own business success or not. And what we can see, the companies that get it and the ones who don't. So another story. About 6 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, I was at an event with a group of salespeople. They were the automotive sales team for the largest cloud software company in the world, so you can probably figure out who that is. And one of them was telling a story about a Cadillac he had just bought. But listening to the story, it was not a great experience at all. In fact, it was the same buying experience that people have been having for the last 10 or 20 years. And when he finished, I said to him, geez, isn't it crazy that we still buy cars this way? Why wouldn't you just go online? You know what the new car is going to cost. Let dealers bid for it. You know what your trade-in is worth. That's online as well. Buy the car online. They come, they pick up your car. They give you 5, 6, 7 days. If you're happy with it, the deal is done. These guys looked at me, and they were all guys, by the way. These guys looked at me like I was nuts. That will never happen. People will never buy cars that way. Anybody bought a car online, or know anybody who has? The people who have bought cars online aren't going back to a car dealer. They're not. It's just a different and better experience. But there are challenges, and there are challenges that derail that growth. Let's see if I get that. Here we go. So there's competition, customer retention, the drive for customer retention, disparate systems, right? This is where we come into place, and bad data or data silos. And these are how we as business leaders are challenged today. So the competition is no longer known or local. Customers are fluid. I'm a great example, right? Loyalty has been diminished, if not completely eradicated, which is not necessarily a bad thing because it makes us as businesses work harder. But it's because of the ease of finding and purchasing items online. Virtually everything has been commoditized. Disparate systems impact our ability to recognize customers when they engage and to market to prospective customers, or worse, to existing customers, to ensure order completion or order accuracy. And the root cause of many of the challenges are outdated processes, bad data, or data that is not made available to the people who need it the most, who are interacting with your customers. Now, for those of us who are in decision-making capacity, this stat will frighten you. 67% of buyers say they will not go back and make another purchase from somebody if they have a bad experience. One bad experience. That means that you have to endeavor to be perfect all the time. So technology has made it easier to become a seller or a reseller. There are more channels now than ever to choose from, beyond traditional brick and mortar. There's online, mobile app, in-store pickup, kiosk, marketplace, social media, live stream. It's staggering, especially for an old guy like me. Thank you, Stephen. You need to be able to keep up with the rise in competition and the channels, because people's shopping habits and expectations are changing. And then there's the rise of the new ma and pa, right? So marketplaces like Poshmark and ShopX and RealReal and Etsy, they have enabled this barrier or a low barrier for sellers and resellers. And it's easier than ever to have a storefront. So consumers can get these niche products and get a same or better experience as they would with a major retailer. In fact, when we were doing the research for this presentation, we went to some of the sites, and we saw sites like Poshmark and RealReal. Resellers with tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of followers, selling hundreds to thousands of items. The loyalty wasn't to Poshmark or RealReal, it was to this guy Hunter, or girl, we don't know, Hunter could be the right? But it was to Hunter, and the items that Hunter was selling. And by the way, Hunter is also drafting off of the advertising that we're spending, and that these marketplace sites are spending. And by the way, if you're tracking what's happening with advertising, Facebook is up about 47% over last year, but the effectiveness of advertising on sites like Instagram and Facebook are down, in part because of the Apple security update. But social is still relevant. We're glued to our devices. So if we can get people in the moment and have them click through, better experience. But you have to stay relevant. And staying relevant also means the omni-channel experience. So what matters now is that total customer experience. Consumers no longer just buy based on one factor like price. They buy because they like what the brand stands for, the overall customer experience, and the ability to navigate a website. All the way out to the checkout experience. And the studies on checkout experience, like if you put in your credit card, it doesn't work, they abandon the cart, they never come back. I just did this, by the way. I get so frustrated on an impulse purchase, by the way. And they hit me every day with new offers, like I'm not going back, I'm done. Didn't need the item anyway. So to sum it up, the increase in shopping channels, competition, rising ad costs, all make consumer acquisition costs higher, and that makes customer retention that much more crucial. So to retain your customers, you need to ensure a great customer experience. And that starts with connecting disparate systems. So focusing on improving your customer retention strategies is more important than ever. You have to use technology so you can focus customers. You use automation. Eliminate the data silos, centralize your data, and be able to compete against even those businesses that have no storefront. You want to be able to offer flexibility in the order process, things like split orders, pre-orders, in-store pickup, and these may even change and vary based on a customer status and their buying history with you. Rewards programs. You want to integrate systems to ensure timeliness, excellent customer experience, notifications, and personalization. This is your differentiator. Connecting the systems, automating the processes, helping customers by their channel of choice. Enabling the automation you need to compete by connecting the systems means connecting with your customers. And the bad data is everybody's nightmare. Right? It is your nightmare, it's your customer's nightmare, it's your employee's nightmare. But by connecting the systems and the applications, systems can work the way they're supposed to work. Be proactive, not reactive. Leverage automation and hyper-automation. Optimize your workflows. Personalize the interactions. And what will that look like in the future? Well, this is my vision. So we're already seeing some brick and mortar become mini malls by offering concession space within the stores to bring in new and varied buyers. Having a 50,000 square foot store will become very difficult, if not impossible, to rationalize. Buying massive amounts of inventory and hoping that it arrives on time so that it can be sold and not liquidated. Customers will go, we as customers will go to a retail store and you'll scan a QR code, right? You won't go to a shelf tag or even necessarily the tag on the item. Scan a QR code. Inventory will be based on urgency or most common fit. Otherwise, that QR code will tell you how quickly you can get the item. You'll have your Apple Pay or whatever on your device, pay for the item, ship it to your house, walk out the store. You don't have anything in your hands. Different experience. Or you'll shop at home with a virtual mirror. You just saw those at NRF earlier this year. You'll buy the item, ship it to your house. If you don't like it, you'll send it back. It's still a lower cost option. And it is a better experience, and we gather more data about the buyer so that we can personalize later. And that's my prediction. All indicators are that this is where retail is headed. And the ones who connect the systems and the processes and get it right, they win. The ones who continue to fight this will simply go away. Car dealers will be fulfillment and service, not sales and service. Real estate agents will be buying assistance. Manufacturers will manufacture. Distributors will distribute. There'll be technical handshakes along the way in the process so that you as the buyer, as the consumer, know where your items are, when it will be delivered, etc. And at first it's going to seem really strange, and then it won't seem strange at all, and then we'll wonder, well, why the heck did it take so long to even get here? And why does it matter? Well, it matters because the entire buying landscape has changed, right? Last year, I was talking to a CIO of a 100-year-old company, and they were looking at Jitterbit to enable and automate processes because things had shifted very quickly. What happened? Well, what happened was they started to hear from customers who have been buying from them in some cases for 40 years or more, second, third generation buyers. And they were hearing things like, I like Mike. He's great. I'll go to lunch with Mike anytime. But I found another supplier in Ohio who can get me the items, get me product in 2 days for less money. Oh yeah, and by the way, when I call and I talk to Betty, we love Betty, But Betty can't even tell me where the order is or when I'm going to get it. Decades of hard-earned loyalty disappeared virtually overnight. And they knew that if they were going to continue to survive, not another 100 years, but even another 5 years, they needed to change, and they needed to change quickly. So as we wrap up, let me suggest a homework assignment, or for those of us who don't like or do homework, a mini research project. If you haven't done this, or done it in a while, buy something from your company. Buy the same or similar from a competitor. Get service and support if you need it. Return the item in both places. Do it anonymously, obviously. Right? You don't want to skew it. See what the experience is like in both places. See who you would rather buy from. And then tune your processes accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Has anybody got a question? We've got a few minutes before the next presentation.
How many people did you talk to?
So we did a survey last year ourselves. We surveyed about 200 companies worldwide. Of our customers, we have about 3,500 customers. But a lot of that data comes from sources other than Jitterbit. So in some cases, it's from thousands and thousands of customers. And then myself, I mean, I'm talking to anywhere from, I would say, 50 to 75 customers and prospects every quarter. So I'm on the front lines and have been for a long time. And some of the stories are awesome, and some of them are frightening.
Is that QR story real?
Not yet, but it's not far-fetched, right? Because if you think about where we are now, you go to a restaurant, right? You're seeing restaurants now with QR codes, no menus, not even no wait staff. It is no different, right? And again, for someone like myself who doesn't enjoy the act of shopping, to be able to go to a store, this is where I thought about it. It's like, why the heck am I like looking through stuff that I don't even need it today? I need it in a couple of days, but I'm just not buying clothing online doesn't work for me. But why am I doing this? This is dumb. Why can't I just go, okay, I need it in this size, send it to my house, here's my Apple Pay. I get better things to do, especially when the weather's nice. I want to be on a bike or fishing. I don't want to be in a store. So it's so close. And talking to some of our customers who are in retail and what's happened with the supply chain over the last year and a half, they desperately want a different way to do it. I mean, we have fashion retailers who are, in some case, warehousing items, hoping that next season they'll still be attractive and be able to sell it. In other cases, they were just like, yeah, it's going to hit the U.S. shores, and we're going to immediately liquidate it. Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome.
Fantastic. Any more questions?
Is that data B2B, B2C?
Both. Both.
What's the split?
I don't know offhand, but I can give you the report.
I'd like to, I mean, the B2B piece particularly.
Yeah.
Some of the information there. How are they comparing the buying process for a competitor versus their own buying process?
Yeah, in fact, Hassan, I think the report is on our site. Okay. I believe you can, but if not, you know how to reach me. And by the way, I'm the only Mike Muhlfelder in the world, for real. So I can't get away with anything. So I'm very easy to find. And please feel free to I'll be here for a few more hours. I'll be here today, happy to talk to you, but you can find me on LinkedIn or through Jitterbit, and I'm always happy to engage.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Maybe
Anybody
time
else?
for one more question? There we go.
How do you recommend handling test data?
I'm sorry, what data?
Test data.
I'm not going to make that recommendation, to be honest with you. That's where I'm not going to get myself into that discussion because it's not my area of expertise. Now I will say, Dave, you've been doing this for a long time, from an e-com standpoint. So Dave Malda is our director of sales for our SMB space. He's been with the combined Jitterbit eBridge company for 13 years. So, Dave, do you have any thoughts on test data? Not to put you on the spot.
Loading up test data using that. Well, the big problem I see is that you have a testing environment and an actual environment, and the data is so different. Like you said, bad data is a problem. A lot of it has to do with
Yeah.
I would say we've run into these challenges all over deployments. Often the data can be the culprit in the spend. So I don't know the right answer to that, but some companies have very clean, wonderful data, and others it's a bit of a
Yeah, what we, I mean, I'm not supposed to do Jitterbit advertisements, so I won't. But what we do is we deploy all of our, but I will anyway, right?
Not on my watch.
Yeah. We deploy all of our customers with test dev in production. So that data rationalization and the work that you want to do before it gets to production all gets done in test and dev. So you're not propagating bad processes, bad data. But that's how we operate. But again, customers, we don't walk into an organization and say, this is how you do it. Because you may be working with a partner who says that's not at all how we're going to do it. So, happy to have the conversation, but we're not generally the people who are going to say, do it this way.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you all.